Hi everyone, my name is Anthony Jung and I'm the Executive Chef of Retail Dining at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. And today I'm going to show you how to make Roots Cafe pulled pork quesadilla. Alright, so let's take a look at the ingredients we'll be utilizing in this recipe. I've got some chicken stock right there. I've got a medium onion, a couple bay leaves, some garlic of course, some adobo, and some pork butt. Alright, so let's get to the prep work. I'm just going to move this off to the side, and we're going to start with our garlic here. So all we have to do is get the skin off. I'm just going to give it a little pound there. Add a little there. You can see the skin comes off quite easily. And for this recipe, we're not going to have to chop up the garlic because it's going to cook with the braising liquid here. So there's no reason to cut it fine. Start with the onion, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to save half of the onion for the pico that we're going to make in just a minute here. And let's get the end off. Take the skin off, or the peel, I should say. Okay, and we're just going to get rid of that garlic skin. It tends to stick to your fingers. Right? And I'm just going to cut it into quarters. Alright, so I brought all the ingredients over to the stove, and the first step with this is we're going to season the pork butt with a little bit of adobo here. I'll just give a little sprinkle. Make sure we get all the sides here. And I'm just using a sheet tray to hold the pork here. And if you guys are familiar with adobo, it has a really nice savoriness to it, so it's going to add a good amount of flavor to our pork here. Alright, so for the next step, we're going to put our pork into our pot here for braising. And we're just going to add our onions. Garlic and our bay leaves. And then we're just going to top everything off with our chicken stock. All right, so let's turn the stove on. Let's go up to medium high here. And then once it comes up to a simmer, we'll lower it down to medium low so we can gently braise the pork here. And we'll just put the lid on top, and I'm just gonna leave it just a little ajar so some of the steam can evaporate. This should take about an hour to 2 hours. It just depends on how hard your simmer is and how thick the pork is. All right, so it's been about an hour. Let's take a look at our pork here. You can see how it's just gently simmering there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over the pork just so the other half can braise in the liquid as well. And then I'll show you the next step. All right, so it's been about 2 hours, and I'm just going to take a look at our pork here. And it looks like it's pretty much fully braised. So let's get this out of the pot here. And I've just got a sheet tray that I'm going to lay the pork on. All right. You just want to be careful taking out the pork because it's going to have a tendency to fall apart if it's braised properly here. All right. And just make sure you save that delicious broth here. And then we're going to pop this in the freezer to cool down, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so our pork has fully cooled here, and now it's time to shred it. And I've actually got some gloves on just to be a little bit cleaner here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the pork to our bowl here. All right, put that off to the side, and it's going to pull apart the meat. And you can see some pieces are a little bit fattier than others. What we want to do is kind of mix in the lean meat with the rich pork. Right? And just give it a little pull. There's a little bit of too much fat. We can get rid of that. And one of my favorite items, especially with the fall coming up here, is braised meats. And one of the reasons why chefs really enjoy cooking them is because we take a very we'll call it a less economical cut of meat and slow cook it and braise it and sear it or stew it, and we get this great product. And this is what I think makes this recipe really special, is that has this really fantastic braised pork in it. And then what we're going to do, we're going to add our barbecue sauce here. And this just gives it obviously a nice rich tang and smoky tomato flavor. Give this a mix. All right, there you go. All right, so let's start on our pico here. I've got some beautiful heirloom tomatoes here. This is a Cherokee purple. We've got a beautiful yellow one, and we've got a beautiful red one as well. We've got a jalapeno. Of course, we've got some cilantro here, a whole lime that we're gonna juice, and yellow onion. All right, so let's start with the tomatoes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna give this a cut in half. Pretty much only use half of the tomatoes in this recipe. Put that over to the side. And just give them a couple nice little cuts here. And some dices. You can see how beautiful these heirloom tomatoes are. They have a great color, but also great flavor as well. Let's get to the yellow one. So we'll just cut out that stem part. Make sure we utilize the entire tomato here. Piece two. All right, and onto the red one. One of the things you have to be kind of careful of is the skin of the tomato. So you really need a sharp knife to be able to cut through that efficiently. So those are our heirloom tomatoes. All right, so I put our tomatoes in a bowl here, and we'll get started on the jalapenos. What I like to do is to actually cut right around the seeds here. You can see that most of the seeds stay right in the core here. And I did get a couple on my knife, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna rinse this off real quick. All right, so then I'm just gonna scrape a couple of those seeds off to the sides here. And I'm gonna need about half of the jalapeno here. And I'm just going to give it a couple of cuts for that way, and we'll go this way. Make small dices, or as the French would say, brunoise, which means a very fine dice. And take the other strip, do the same thing. And it's really important not to touch your eyes or anything sensitive after cutting jalapenos. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my hands right now, because otherwise I'm sure I'll touch my eyes or something, and I'll get a burning sensation. So I'll be right back after I wash my hands. All right, so let's start with our onion that I have left over from the pork. And I'm just going to cut the bottom piece off, gonna take the top piece off, just peel that skin real quick here. Okay, and again I'm just gonna cut with kind of the shape of the onion, just like that. And this ensures that we have a uniform dice. Okay, I'm just gonna turn it around now. We need all of it, so I'm just gonna stop right there. The extra right in the hole. These guys right in here. All right. Next, I'm gonna take our cilantro sprigs here and just give them a rough chop. It doesn't have to be too fine. Rustic is a little bit better, in my opinion, for this recipe here. And this particular batch of cilantro just has a really, really great aromatic aroma to it. All right, so our pico is almost done, and we've got it in a bowl here, and it looks really, really colorful and vibrant. And the last step is to add a little bit of lime juice to this. So let's give this a little bit of a roll. That's just to kind of soften it up a little bit so we can extract as much juice as possible. Okay. And the great thing about limes is normally they don't have too many seeds. And the very last step is I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. All right, just give this a mix. All right, and there we have our heirloom Pico de Gallo. All right, so let's get to the queso part of the quesadilla here. I've got a local Vermont cheddar here, and again, it's in a block form, and it's because a lot of shredded cheeses have an anti-caking agent. Just doesn't melt that great. So I prefer to grate my own cheese. So here we go. Let's get it out of the package here. Side. Got my little grater here. There you go. And pretty much we'll do the whole block. And I mean, one of the great things about cheddar cheese, it has a really, really nice milkiness to it. And a slightly nutty aroma. And really one of the best things about it is that it melts extremely well. So it's good for items like a like a quesadilla where you really want that cheese to melt really well, get really, really stringy without having too much flavor. That's not to say you couldn't actually make this recipe with a blue cheese blend. You know, maybe steak and mushroom with blue cheese or gorgonzola. That would also be fantastic. All right, so let's just get this cheese in our bowl here. And even though it seems like this is an unnecessary step, and you know, it's okay to use shredded cheese from the store as well, but really, it really will taste fantastic. Make sure we get that last little bit here. All right, make sure we don't cut ourselves either. There we are. All right, so I brought all of the ingredients over to the stove here. So we have our shredded cheese right there. We've got our beautiful pulled pork. I've got a cast iron pan here that I've got on medium low there. And yeah, so let's get started. So I've got a flour tortilla right here, and I'm just gonna put that in the bottom of our skillet here, and I'm gonna add our cheese, just in a kind of a thin layer. Now it's really up to you. You can add more cheese, maybe a little bit less, but really, again, it's all up to your preference here. And I'm just gonna spread this out evenly, and let's get some of that beautiful pulled pork in here. Oopsie. That's a piece. And I know Roots Cafe is quite well known on campus for their quesadillas. It's pretty much the most popular item that they serve there. All right, so our quesadilla is ready to fold over. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the edge here. I'm just going to fold it over. All right, just push it down just a little bit. And you can see that we've got some great caramelization there. And I'm going to let this go for another minute or two. All right, so our quesadilla is about done here. So let's bring this over to the counter over here. And I'm just going to set this down here and put the pot holder down. And let me just grab a spatula here. And just put it right here, right in the middle of my cutting board here. And what I like to do is actually I like to cut my quesadillas with a pizza knife. So I'm going to cut this into thirds. So across that way, and that way. And you can see it's a really nice big meaty quesadilla, which Roots is actually really well known for. And I've got a plate over here. This one, just like that. I'll get this one on the plate as well. And then you've got our beautiful heirloom pico. So yeah, so this is Roots pulled pork quesadilla. Hopefully that you found this video educational and that you'll try pulled pork quesadilla at home.